Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. I hope you're all safe and well. I hope you're all staying indoors as far as possible and admiring your watch collections. Well, it's that time of year again. It's the AliExpress sale. Let's be honest, AliExpress has a sale roughly every 20 minutes, but I make these top 10 style videos 3 times a year for the 3 biggest sales. This one, the anniversary sale, the mid-year sale in June, and then the 11/11 sale toward the back end of the year. Let's clear up a couple of things before we go any further. On stock and delivery times, I always say to exercise a bit of patience if you're ordering a watch from AliExpress. I reckon 4 to 6 weeks is a comfortable window for delivery, and don't expect fabulous communication from the vendor either. These watches are cheap for a reason, and that is one of the reasons. I tend to forget I've ordered it and then get a surprise when the watch arrives in my letterbox. Regarding stock levels, inevitably Chinese factory shutdowns earlier on this year will ripple through the supplies of most things over the course of 2020. But I'm going by the rule that if it says in stock on the website, then it's in stock and ready for delivery. Alright, what's on the list today then? Well, a few bonuses as well. It's probably closer to a top 15 than to a top 10, but I'm going to go through them in fairly short order as always. I'll leave links to them in the description of the video in the order that I show you them. To be clear, I am an AliExpress affiliate. That means that if you make a purchase after clicking on a link, they pay me a small finder's fee. You don't pay any more for your purchase, just so we're clear. Thank you very much. So a few new watches and a few old watches. I've personally bought about 6 watches already from Ali this year, so a few of those will feature, and a few watches that I think if you haven't already had a look at them, now is the time to buy. Let's flip the camera and get on with the list. It should be noted that these watches appear in no particular order today. It should also be noted that I'm recording this video a couple of days in advance, but by the time you see it, the sale will have officially started. I believe this one runs for 5 full days. Alright, watch number 1 from the Cadisen official store. It is the first but not the last Cadisen on today's list. It's what the wags have already dubbed the Cadisoak. Look at that thing, clearly getting a lot of its inspiration from the Gerald Genta integrated angular designs of the 1970s. I wonder if it will be as popular as the Cadisoak. I wonder if that's what they had one eye on when they designed this model. Cadisen a little bit different from Pagani and some of the other manufacturers in that they tend to do more original designs. They're not just photocopying a Rolex or an IWC or an Omega catalogue. This one, it is Genta, but it is fairly original. I believe this is a brand new model. It only appeared on their Instagram page a few days ago. Now, a lot of these are renders. However, there is a video here, and I suggest you have a good look at the video so you can see what the watch looks like in person, or at least in the hands of somebody else. Kind of a busman's holiday for me watching somebody else show off a watch. One thing to note though, I've ordered a black one. I've got a black one in my cart ready to go. Looks very nicely machined there. Cadisen logo etched in there on the clasp next to that butterfly clasp mechanism. They're saying that this watch is 46mm in diameter. If that's true, it's going to knock it out for guys with average size wrists or below, I would say. Perhaps this is one for big guys or guys who like big watches. Can't argue with the value though, $63. There's the ubiquitous Seagull NH35 in the back, screw down case pack, 100 meters of claimed water resistance on this one as well. It does only say that it features a piece of mineral crystal on the dial, not sapphire. Personally, I'd have paid a bit extra for sapphire, but never mind. I think Cadisen do a pretty good job of making some solid watches, so the Cadisoak is my first choice today. My second choice from the Pagani Design official store is this one, the PD1645, clearly a Rolex Datejust homage, available in a bunch of different colorways. There's a couple of two-tones. I've actually got a blue one in, and I've got a two-tone in for review. I'm probably not going to get the chance to publish the full video, but I'm quite impressed with what I've seen so far for 75 bucks. Again, sapphire crystal, it has all the right specs, Seiko NH35 in the back of it, and that is a pretty decent Jubilee. Once again, it's got that slightly dubious Pagani design Rolex copy clasp on there, but as long as you treat that one carefully, this watch looks like offering you plenty for $75. That's my blue one there, and I must say they've done a pretty decent job on the case. It really does replicate the oyster look, nice and soft edges to it as well. If you've ever tried on one of these Rolex Datejust 41mm, they do feel a bit top heavy and slightly ungainly because of the taper on the Jubilee. combined with that large head of the watch. And hey, the Pagani's no different, but if you've been looking for a budget Datejust homage with a decent set of specs, $75, I reckon this one is well worth a look. Okay, number 3 from the North Edge official store, something a little bit different. The North Edge Apache 3 ABC watch. Now that means altimeter, barometer and compass. This one also has a thermometer built in as well. It's got a temperature gauge, it's got a pedometer, it does weather predictions, it's got a whole bunch of features, and it's $40.50. I recommend spending a couple of dollars extra and getting it with 2 straps. There's a rubber strap and there's a canvas strap. I bought one of these earlier on this year and I must say I'm impressed with the overall quality and feeling of solidity that you get for $40. It's a big watch, as these trekking style watches tend to be, at 50mm in diameter, but it doesn't feel particularly ungainly. It's not particularly heavy. I think that's the reason why you can get away with a big watch, but fully featured and about a third of the price of the equivalent Casio Pro Trek with triple sensors. If you're the type of guy that dresses up in camo and shoots things, maybe one of these is for you. I'll try and get the review of this one up in the next few days before the sale ends. Okay, in at number 4, it's a Steeldive, what they call a 1970 Abalone dive watch. I've heard lots of good reports about these Steeldive watches. A number of people have recommended a number of different models to me. I reckon this is probably the pick of the bunch though. If you don't recognise it, it's a classic Seagull 6105 homage from the late 1960s, early 1970s. These watches, or at least the Seiko originals, were on the wrists of many soldiers during the Vietnam War. Again, all the right specs here. Seiko NH35 sapphire crystal ceramic bezel insert and a super comfortable case. They're slightly bigger watches at 43-44mm, but dead compact lug to lug means they wear fantastically. My preference is for the one on the bracelet at $122. I reckon the isoframe rubber strap or the Seiko style rubber strap would both do you proud for less than $120. You can get it with logo or no logo depending on what you prefer. I reckon most of these 6105 homages come out of the same factory anyway. Looks like there's no shortage of Lume on this one, BGW9 on the bezel insert and C3 on the hands and the indices. Screw down case back, screw down crown, 200 meters of water resistance. I reckon for $120 odd. It's the cheapest one of these I've seen. That's why it's on today's list. Alright, watch number 4 from the Corgeut official store. That's where I got mine. This is the watch that I was wearing in the intro today. It's a Corgeut Railmaster homage. Now, I got a bit excited. I bought the one on the fabric strap. If I had my time and my $81 again, I would definitely be picking up on the bracelet. The fabric strap's alright, but I would always go for a watch and a bracelet in the first instance. Then you can always mix and match the straps later on. 3 different colorways in these ones, the black, the blue and the white, or you can go for a Seagull movement for $10 off. Nothing wrong with Seagull movements, but I'd be going for the Miyota 8215. Not my favourite movement in the world, but at least it's a known quantity. Here's some footage of mine. It's a nice, attractive, handsome looking dial. Again, no thanks to Corgeut, this one is an Omega homage if you didn't know that already. Screw down crown here, 50 meters of water resistance. The case finishing is nice and plain, nice and simple. I would say a little utilitarian, but the real interest is in that dial. It's a lovely dial, lovely vertical brushing there, some really nice texture on the dial, and we've even got a bit of vintage style lume on the hands and the indices. The hands are flat though, they are not faceted as it suggests in these renders, so do bear that in mind. But for $81, if you're looking to scratch the Omega itch with a Corgeut homage, you would do well to check this one out. Or if you prefer the Omega Aqua Terra, again, same deal here, 4 different dial colours, 2 different choices of movements, either a Miyota or a Seagull. I'd be going for the Miyota, again the same price, $81.70. Okay, taking a break from the homages for a couple of minutes for some original design watches, starting with 2 Cadisens. These 2 make every one of these top 10 lists because I think they are great watches. Like I said, Cadisen makes a solid watch and they do it their own way. They're not just making rip-offs. Available in either black dial or silver dial, this is the C1032. They need to work on their nomenclature, but it's a great watch for a mere $46.40. 40mm in diameter, 12mm thick, 20mm lug width, great set of dimensions for most people, either as an everyday wear office type watch or pop it on a leather strap, and this would be a great dress watch for occasional wear. Again, all the right specs here. This one has sapphire crystal, a lovely sunburst dial, Dauphine hands, applied indices, and a day-date complication because it features the Seagull NH36 hacking and hand winding auto, sapphire crystal as well. I've got one of each. I've got a black one and a silver one. The only issue I can see with these watches is that they are full, high polished, shiny. That bracelet, solid links, butterfly clasp, but it is high polished. If you're not into super high polish, then pop this one on a leather strap like I have done here, and you've got yourself a really classy looking dress watch for less than a 50. Okay, next up, it's another Cadisen. It's the Cadisen Diamond, or at least that's what I call it because of the diamond crumb inserted in the index at 12 o'clock there. That's not going to be to everyone's taste, but if you can get past it or you're attracted to it, then this is a great watch for $101.99. It's got an elegant 40mm profile case, double domed sapphire crystal, and a Miyota 9015. That is a real boon in a watch at $100. It is almost unheard of. That's a gorgeous Japanese made 24 jewel hacking and hand winding high beat, highly decorated automatic. The Miyota 9015 was designed by Miyota to be a rival for the ETA 2824, so that shows you where they're pitching their movement. This one's available in the white dial. It's kind of parchment colour with a blue hand. You can get it in gold or you can get it in rose gold. Always recommended this one, especially when it's hovering around 100. Next up, from the AliExpress Tourbillon watch store, that's where I picked mine up, reassuring to see 100% positive feedback. It is the original Chinese special, the Seagull 1963. I bought and sold an acrylic crystal one of these a couple of years ago. This is the sapphire crystal one, and I am settling in for a much longer relationship, knowing that I'm not going to scratch the watch. It is such a little cutie, this one. 38mm in diameter, so again, perhaps the big guys that were going for the Cadisoak, they won't be interested in this one, but I think it's a really versatile little watch. Column wheel chronograph for less than $166. That is a Seagull ST1901 based on an old Swiss movement that the Chinese bought from them in the 1960s. The whole watch is a bit of a reissue of a Chinese pilot's watch that was made for members of the PLA Air Corps back in the early 1960s. So if you fancy a military watch with a bit of an Asian flavour, the Seagull 1963 comes highly recommended. Alright, next up, it's a 3-for-1 deal if you're looking for a Rolex Submariner style watch. This one is one of my favourites at $67.49. It's the Pagani design PD1639, a watch that I reviewed just before the 11/11 sale last year. Amazing set of on-paper specifications, Seiko NH35, sapphire crystal, ceramic bezel insert, etc, for well under $70. But do note, 43mm in diameter. If you want something a bit smaller, this is a new model by Pagani. They call it the 1651. I would say it's like a yacht mariner. It's got a relief bezel here. There's a bit of deep sea in that blue-black fade model as well. It's 40mm in diameter with all of the same specifications, but it is a little more expensive at $81.24. I have got a couple of these in the house. I have already made that video. I released it yesterday. So if you haven't already watched the review on this one, do check it out. A lot of specs, but as usual with these Paganis, the butter is spread thin across the toast. I had issues with the spring bar in the clasp on my review sample. Or if you don't fancy a Pagani, the Loreo for $55.86. That's just about as cheap as I've seen these ones. A whole bunch of different colorways. I've got a Hulk one myself I've had for some time. Sapphire crystal, very solid feeling little watch this one. High polished mid links on that bracelet. It's got a Seagull movement in the back of it, but I've had no problems. Mine runs like a champ. So you're not short of options if you fancy a Rolex style watch in the AliExpress sale, are you? Alright, new entry at number 6, new to the channel, Lobinni Interlaken. I reckon that's as close as they could get to IWC Schaffhausen without getting sued. Clearly somebody's had a good look at the IWC catalogue. A lot of their models are very much like the IWC range. This one, larger style, 44mm pilot style-ish watch, manual winding as you can see there. That's the reason that I'm going to pick one of these up. I have got one of these in the black dial and silver finish, as I show here on the screen, in my basket ready to go. And the reason that I'm picking up one of these is because it has a Seagull 6498 hand winding movement in the back, sapphire crystal as it says here. Look at that thing. Highly decorated. Again, there's a little video. I suggest you check it out. Looks great. These manual wind 6498 Seagull movements are a real treat to look at. A lot of decoration on this one. Don't look too closely. They are a bit rough around the edges, but I reckon this should be something a bit different, something a bit interesting, less than 120. Alright, almost finished with the list, but I've got time to squeeze in just one more Pagani design. They really do offer outrageous value, especially during a sale. $58.49 from the trendy men's watch store. That's as cheap as I have seen these ones. It's the PD1644, obviously a Rolex Daytona homage. Well worth considering, I think, if you've got a watch box full of automatics and you need a grab and go piece that's always at the right time. Japanese Seagull VK63 Mecha Quartz Chrono. So 3 subdials here, 3 registers on this one, plus a date down there at the 4:30. We've got a 24-hour indicator at the 3 o'clock, ticking seconds at the 6, and it's a 60-minute chrono timer at the 9. Pretty much the same size and shape as the Rolex Daytona. You've got that nice, soft, gentle oyster case. Again, that slightly dubious Pagani Rolex style clasp, but a lot of watch for your money. Ceramic bezel, sapphire crystal, etc, etc. And it seems that they're now doing two-tone versions for only a few dollars more, $62.99 if you like a bit of bling. And finally, the last watch on today's list. It's like the last item of news in a news broadcast. It's the dog riding a skateboard. It's the San Martin official store. Full Great Wave off Kanagawa, Lume dial, bronze watch. Look at that thing. That looks absolutely mental. I've reviewed a few San Martins and I've really enjoyed them. Certainly a cut above the $50, $100 watches. Very nicely manufactured. Seiko NH35 in the back of this one. CUSN8 marine grade bronze case should patina beautifully. There's some nice pictures on here of the watch with just a little bit of patina. I imagine if you put a bit of forced patina on that, set it against that Great Wave dial, it's going to look fantastic. There's a few different colour straps. If a bronze watch with a wave dial isn't quite enough for you, I'd be going for the plain waffle black one. $285, it's the most expensive watch on the list today, and no sale special on these ones unfortunately, but I think still worthy of your consideration. Let's have a look at that dial one more time, and let's have a look at that lume one more time. So there you have it, another top 10 bargains from AliExpress. What did you think of that selection? I think the ones of note are the Cadisoak. It's a shame they've made that one so big at 46. I'll be interested to see how it wears when it arrives. The 6105 homage, the Steeldive, I've heard nothing but good reports about these watches, so again, I think that one is a bit of a steal for less than $120 if you opt for one of the rubber straps. That Pagani 1651, the 40mm, though perhaps not quite the 40mm Rolex Submariner homage that we had been hoping for, I certainly think it packs an awful lot of watch into its $80 price tag. And then there's the pair of Corgeots. If you prefer your homages with an Omega flavour rather than a Rolex one, you should definitely check out those two. Stay safe, stay well, I'll see you soon.